The Afar region is one of the hottest and driest spots in the world with the lowest temperature on the planet Earth. Much of its territories are dominated with salt flats and deserts. The Afar ethnic group resides in Ethiopia, Eritrea, and Djibouti in the Horn of Africa. Their subsistence economy depends on livestock, especially rearing camels, goats, and cattle. The Afar people are naturally proud, individualistic, and feared by outsiders. They are organized in patrilineal kin groups. The Afar region in Ethiopia is mostly known for being land of origin for human species Homo of Lucy and Salam. It is source of wool supply and land of patriotic people. Unfortunately, this region had entertained chaotic, demolishing, and disastrous war by TPLF's rebels troops over the past couple of months. During its reign, TPLF brutally oppressed Afar people as it was doing to other Ethiopians residing in various regions and exploited its resources. Afar people has started self-rule and is administering its resources since the coming to power of the reform leaders over the last 4 years. During the reign of TPLF, only coalition parties from Oromia, Amhara, Tigray, and Southern Nationality and People regions used to be considered as major parties, whereas parties from other regions, including Afar, used to act as satellite parties, and that was a deliberate tactic of TPLF to control resources and power through the paper tiger pseudo-federalism.
TPLF is literally a communist type arrangement that doesn't believe in democracy. And they were simply playing a game in the name of democracy, and they were not democratic. Because to exercise democracy, you have to be internally democratic. And if you are not internally democratic, you can never exercise democracy outside in the public. That's why TPLF from the very beginning is a communist, extremely authoritarian party that does not have any attitude and practice of democracy. Democratic values were almost absent within the structure of TPLF and EPRDF. That's why all the elections that have been claimed to be democratic over the last 27 years were not democratic by all standards. One, they were known to suppress all the democratic protests or opposition parties within the democratic exercises that we had over the last 27 years. And very genuine opposition parties were suppressed, either in exile or they were arrested. And democratic institutions such as civic associations, civic institutions, NGOs, religious institutions, professional associations were almost suppressed in the name of laws, procedures, and the like. And institutions of democracy such as the election board, the justice institutions, the human rights institutions were almost fake or paralyzed.
27-year autocratic reign of TPLF, they looted billions of dollars. They suppressed religious freedoms, as well as civil liberties, and jailed journalists.
The gross violation of human rights with TPLF, the killings, the terrorism act, and including more significantly the use of child.
EPRDF, government led by the TPLF, was a crony government. It was run by a dictator, someone I had known from a long time ago, and unfortunately we thought he was going to be more democratic than he turned out to be. At least from the US side we thought that. And he, basically TPLF ran a dictatorship for 27 years, and that dictatorship was marred by human rights violations, imprisoning political prisoners, sham elections, and when they were run out of government, that was the right thing to do, and the people of Ethiopia spoke.
EPRDF tried to break by, for instance, taking up the functions or the autonomies which were provided to the regional government and exercising it at the federal level, which was unconstitutional. There are about 27 proclamations which were broken under the TPLF rule, which practically broke the federal arrangement.
TPLF during its ruling span egoistically exploited resources of Afar people, mainly salt and gold mines. In ousting TPLF and ending its corrupted system, the Afar people contributed its fair share by forging force with other Ethiopian nationalities. While TPLF was advancing to the capital to regain power by capturing some provinces in Ethiopia before a couple of months, it had faced bitter resistance by Ethiopian National Defense Force, Afar militias, special forces and other military units drawn from different parts of Ethiopia. Kasagita, Chifra and Mile were battlegrounds where the Ethiopian National Defense Force, other forces united from Afar militias and special forces scored decisive victory over TPLF. TPLF repeatedly tried to capture Mile Highway to block the Ethio-Djibouti main road. However, with very tiresome and bloodshedding sacrifice by Afar forces, the National Defense Force of Ethiopia and special forces and militias gathered from different regions of the country, mainly from the War Masters Afar, made TPLF's attempt a complete nightmare. TPLF terrorist troops retreated back to Tigray and out of the blue invaded some district of northern Afar using the use of Tigray as human wave, losing battles at Mile, Kasagita and Chifra due to Afar soldiers and other forces drove TPLF crazy. During its aggression, TPLF rebel troops invaded Dalol, Abala, Magale, Erabti, Konoba, and Berhale districts of Afar. TPLF overshadowed Afar forces due to two main reasons. The first one is it was an aggression outbroken without anticipation by Afar forces, and the second reason was the TPLF forces were equipped with heavy artilleries and arsenals such as Zu-23 tanks and missiles. The districts were stayed under TPLF forces over the past couple of months. These districts are as silent as graveyards due to war crisis, and all hamlets, villages, towns of the district became the cut, copy, and paste of incidents of Syria, Libya, Yemeni cities a global community witnessed over the last few years. The towns of each district that were under siege are very quiet, no movement of people, no restaurants, no shops, no office hours, no school children, no sound of azan and religious teachings, and generally business activities and human movements are stopped dead. Literally speaking, life in those areas is unbearable due to TPLF's heinous war crime. The TPLF rebels massacred innocent civilians, committed genocide, caused mass grave, looted both private public properties, destroyed and vandalized various institutions, and also displaced more than 300,000 innocent civilians in various places. Malika, an Australian woman who gained her name from Afar Pastoralists, is a program coordinator at Afar Pastoralist Development Association. She has been living in Ethiopia for over the past 30 years. She denounces the bullheaded and criminal deeds of TPLF's terrorist troops against Afar people.
Can you imagine? I mean, every rural house, they burnt it. They burnt it, they destroyed it, they took the mats away. And in the north now, in Barahale and in Konaba, what they've done is taken the top part of the house, which the people cover for protection from wind and rain. They've taken all that into Tigray, the whole lot. They've dismantled a beautiful German hospital just now in Ferestagi that is destroyed. Abala hospital is destroyed. So for the northern people, their hospital is in Dopti. They must come 700 kilometers to save their life. So we have a very, very drastic situation aside from all the challenges of development. That the TPLF is condemned for this, and they never do it again, because the TPLF deliberately sent people to destroy the livelihood of the Afar people, to take away their ability of education, They went into schools and blew up schools. They destroyed libraries, school libraries. They've taken away the ability of children to learn. So, I mean, the governments internationally must say that the TPLF, in so doing, have actually committed a human crime, a crime against humanity. Afar had got this far in development, now they've pushed them back. It's not the Federal Army, definitely not. In the north just now, from December 17 when they came to Abala until now, April 22, when they left part of the northern part of Afar, they're still in one district of Afar called Magali. The TPLF alone were fighting the Afar people. It was definitely the TPLF. And their trucks were seen going into Tigray loaded with all the property of the Afar. I mean, even taking corrugated iron from the roof of town people, taking the tarpaulin from the rural people, cutting their water systems, cutting the pipes, taking away the solar systems, taking away the dynamo and the batteries from the pumping systems. Sadly, in the target hospital, made of really, really expensive German material, they simply undid the screws, took the back off the machine, cut it with scissors or with knives or what, I don't know, burnt it inside, and then threw it on the floor. So it's useless, but it's highly expensive material. And the other thing that's so sad and so crazy is that, I mean, the thing that shocked me was all over the place, in the hospitals, in the schools, the TPLF defecated inside those buildings, all over the place. Feces, human waste. They're crazy. The whole thing is insane, totally insane. They looted every piece of food of the north. All the food of the north has gone to Tigray. Now they're out of Konaba, out of Abala, they're out of Dalol, but they're on the edge in Barhale. They're in a place called Hantibura, which is inside Afar. They're there, and they're in the mountains behind. They're in 3 kabelis. In Magali, they're still fighting.
That's very sad situation. The situation is when the Western help the TPLF to destroy public services, schools, clinics, and they don't know about it. They don't know what they have did here, what they have done here. They don't know. But now we will inform them. When they see these pictures, they will see how the destruction is very immense, very huge. To help us to rebuild the clinic and to bring more medicines, and like maybe women health is very important. Women health, kids. I request, please assist us to rebuild the clinic.
The rebels had conducted all ill-mannered activities against Afar people. Konaba district of Afar regional state was one of the deadly war zone during TPLF's aggression in the northern Afar. The district is adjacent to the Tigray region and is found about 18 kilometers away from Asbi Wamberta district of Tigray region. The aggressors made this specific district almost inhabitable and literally made it as silent as graveyards this time around. now. The previously very busy Konoba is known for its hardworking people and is rich in gold mine and famous for its honey production backed by contemporary beehive technology, animal husbandry. Konoba has now become unusually quiet. Dwellers of the district fled to other places and sheltered in IDP camps. The displaced residents have suffered a lot and traumatized following TPLF's aggression and destruction. Administrator of Konoba district Usman Nur Sahalu described the casualty, displacement, mass murder and mass graves committed by the rebel TPLF group.
ኡስማን ኑር ይባላለሁ። እዚህ ኮነባ ወረዳ አስተዳዳሪ ነኝ። አማጺው ህወሓት ቡድን እዚህ ወረዳ ላይ ወረራ ከጀመረ ብዙ ጉዳት ነው እዚህ አካባቢ ያደረሱት።
My name is Osman Nur. I'm Chief Administrator of Konoba District. The rebel TPLF has committed all inhuman acts during its aggression in this district. As you can see, this is a distraction made by the group on the district's main administrative office. All service providing infrastructures such as education, water, health, electricity plants, and bank infrastructure were totally destroyed. Not only this, private house equipment and household commodities totally changed into ashes. The rebel TPLF basically has a strong hatred to Afar people, and it was an act backed by revenge. Obviously, TPLF has no political objective. It is just an act of terror. What made the situation worse is that waging war on destitute civilians for the sake of few TPLF individuals who highly obsessed to power hunger. The aggressors committed ethnic cleansing against Afar people. They have murdered ordinary civilians for no reason. People who were murdered in mass graves. There are 2 mass graveyards in this district. The rebel unit murdered civilians both by guns and hanging them by ropes on trees. Now we are conducting researches and investigation on the crisis caused by the rebel element. We are assessing the magnitude of the losses. Our district is working along with the regional and federal government, and soon rehabilitation and repatriating communities will be carried out.
ኮነባ ወረዳ ውሃ ጽሕፈት ቤት ኃላፊ ነኝ። ኮነባ ወረዳ ላይ የደረሰው ውድመት የውሃ ጽሕፈት ቤት ብቻ ሳይሆን ሌላ ሴክተሮቹ ላይ ብዙ ውድመት ደርሰዋል እንዳያችሁት ማለት ነው።
I'm head of water technology in this district. In Konoba district, all sectors were totally dismantled, not only the water infrastructure. However, while we take a look to the damage on water infrastructure in our district separately, the dysfunctioned water wells screwed out and took mechanical water infrastructure to Tigray, and they also smuggled generators and water panels. I urge all stakeholders, including the federal government and diaspora abroad, to help us to rebuild the destroyed water infrastructure.
ስሜ መሐመድ ሙሳ ይባላለሁ። ስራ ድርሻዬ በዚህ በአብዓላ ወረዳ ምክትል አስተዳዳሪ ነኝ። እንደሚታወቀው ጁንታ ሁሌ ከደም ጋር የተያዘ መግደል ወይ መወረር ነው ስራቸውና ሁሌ በዚህ ነው የሚታወቁት።
My name is Muhammad Musa. I'm a deputy administrator of Abala district. Obviously, the junta clique is known for its killings and invading lands of others' belongings. They invaded Zone 2, 3, 4, 5. Here in Zone 2, they had committed inhuman deeds. It is difficult to mention the intensity and magnitude of the crisis. Outnumbered children, handicaps, elderly, and women murdered brutally. Mostly, Afar is known for animal husbandry, and all its livestock smuggled to Tigray. Everybody is aware of what has happened against Afar people. A lot is expected from diaspora, all Ethiopians, government, to repatriate those internally displaced people, because life will begin from scratch.
All public properties changed into ashes and pieces. Water pipes, health centers, schools, government office, beehives, banks were burned down into ashes. Bridges and private houses were damaged. Gold mines in various districts and livestock resources have been looted. The rebel clique burned down mosques, holy Qurans, different Muslim religious manuscripts for no reason. The rebel junta has committed heinous crime against Prahalay and its surrounding. This province was very special, known for development and progress. What they have done against public property is uncountable. When we see what they have committed on mosques and other religious institutions, so many destruction had happened. This mosque is the biggest mosque in our district. As you can see, they have shattered it. About 3,000 Holy Quran books burned down by them. We've collected some religious manuscripts from different places for now. Burning down and shattering religious manuscripts has nothing to do with fighting for liberation, committed genocide, and enacted mass grave against Afar people.
ሻለቃ መሐመድ አብዱላህ ይባላል። ስራህ ዘርፊ የሚሊሻ ኃላፊ ነኝ። በአጠቃላይ በጅምላ ጭፍጨፋ የተደረገው ይሄ የሚታየው የህዝብ ነው። የአንድ ወታደር የለም። በህዝብ የተደረገ ጭፍጨፋ ነው።
I'm Major Muhammad Abdullahi, head of militias here in Abala district. This mass grave is a graveyard of civilians brutally murdered and buried. There is no any military personality buried here. During wartime, it is obvious that soldiers may gun down or kill as counter threat, but here you can't find a single soldier killed by them from our side. All corpses buried here are civilians murdered for no reason, and as a result they caused this mass grave. Apart from this mass grave, there are more than 100 civilians dead and their body remains unfound in mountains and deserts. It is literally a sort of deliberate ethnic cleansing carried out by TPLF rebels against Afar civilians. They invaded our land on certain Saturday and waged war against Afar people. By then, we countered them and they retreated back at the hill around the border, and we overshadowed them during the beginning of the war. However, they retreated back and came with huge number of human wave. It was them who invaded us. We've never attempted to invade their land and territory.
My name is Yasin, first of all, head of Afar Regional State Health Bureau. As you observe, the destruction is big, entire Afar. I think this is the second time, not the first time, to distract or attack the Afar people. So previously they attacked almost 14 waradas, and the number of health center they destroyed 21 health center, 1 hospital, and 55 health posts. This is the previous conflict. But the second conflict is the northern part of Afar. They almost destroyed 24 health center. It's more than 14 health posts and 2 hospital. One is a governmental hospital, one is a private target. It's a German-owned hospital. So it was a maternity hospital. It was big. It is really big damage for us Afar. As you knows, the area is very hard to reach. The geography is very mountainous. It's not easy to access, hard to reach. So we are working hard to restore this area. Nowadays we start to restoring almost 4 health center I mean from 6 waradas. In each waradas, the center, health center must be given service for the community. Otherwise, before 2 days, I was there, visit all the destruction made by TPLF. And you know what we observed? There was one mother. She's pregnant almost. She's 9 months. She has small children, almost 2 years age. And almost she's a complicated pregnancy. And they are waiting the ambulance because there is no any health facility on around. So almost they travel 418 kilometers to Afdera or to Dubti Hospital. This is a big damage. It's a painful again. So it's very big, trauma for the community. Psychologically, they, damaged this time. There is a malnutrition at the same time because these people, they was living in mountainous and cold area, almost a highland neighbor to Tigray. Konnaba, even Barahli, Ab'ala, it's better than this area. It's not that much lowland. Yes, be cold, yeah. So when they come to the temperature more than 48 degrees Celsius, imagine what can happen. So this is a big problem. So environment also damage these people. So I was a visit with all partners works on health in Afar. We visit the destruction to all, and the partners, give a promise to support the region. We start with AMREF USAID. It's a more than 2 million supply. I mean, it's small, but it's big for this emergency. So the remaining destruction and the problem, it needs more deep assessment, and we will differentiate what would be must we give a priority, whether to child health, more maternal health, wash, nutrition. These are the priority area. We have to be work on it. "19 IDP sites entire this northern problem. We deploy almost 13 mobile health and nutrition team. Those give a service in this area. Throughout the months, they are staying there, and they follow closely the problem in this IDP sites. And also we have, in some area, we establish maternal waiting homes in this area, because once the mother engaged in 9 months, she need close follow-up and serious attention. So we select the mothers who, reach 9 months to this maternal waiting area. They are staying there. When they, the time up, they maybe give a birth there, or otherwise they transfer to Dubti Hospital. We deploy 1 ambulance in each IDP site. Actually, in some area where the IDP sites are closed, 1 ambulance for 2 or 3 IDP sites, because there is the shortage of ambulance and the vehicle, because they lose 8 vehicles, 6 mobile health and nutrition team vehicle and the 2 are ambulance. So that's why we are trying to cover all with small resource. Actually, we are working hard on this area. As I say, we almost restore 3 health centers this time. We restore immediately the central Waradas health center, okay, in each Waradas. Because, as I say, if there is no any health facility in all Waradas, the problem is very high. So we, restore 1 health center in 1 Warada, whatever they have 4 or 5 health center in each waradas, but we give a priority only for one, the central one, just to give maternity service, child service, whatever, even emergency, they can use it properly. So we have a small also medical equipment, what's on our hand. Then we try to immediately to restore in these 3 waradas, and the remaining 3 on the process. We are discussing with the Ministry of Health, and the assessment team will be back after 5 or 6 days. We will see what the result they collect from each waradas, and then we will respond on that with the Ministry of Health and with the other partners. So I think we will be change the problem actually. And when I say this, we are solving all problem of these people. They suffer a big problem, as you know. The children are dying, the mother dying, so without any precondition. TPLF actually made big destruction on these people and the community, and they are strong people, they are resilient people, by the way. There is no community this much resilience can face this much challenge. We are in conflicts throughout the years, from July 16 last year till today. It's repeatedly we are facing different disaster, like drought, like flooding, like conflict.
The current peace and security of the region is somehow promising. There is no district under siege. The TPLF has pulled out its troops from Afar. The trauma that the women and children are facing due to the horror of war is really tough.
These people are living in very difficult living situation. Of course, there is a very impactful, multi-dimensional, impactful scenario they are facing. So there is a big difference between their original place and now currently they are living in such a secured shelter. They are suffering from different environmental challenges. In addition to environmental challenges, there is a psycho challenge or psychological impacts, social impacts, multiple effects are now we can see from their living situation. So of course it is very challenging situation. Okay. Of course one of the major intervention is healing, that is permanent solution. Until that it is better first to take some measures like as first aid or for temporary some treatments, psycho treatment, therapies, rehabilitation, just those displaced people's first and more important part of their impact is psychological impact. So psychologically we have to just treat them as they are secured, as they are just in the future, as there is hope, as there is peaceful condition will happen, because they are now in secured condition in very lack of mental stability. So just to retain them back to their original psycho status, first we have to give psychological treatments, like assistance in terms of rehabilitation, in terms of having some psychological well-being. Expertise should take some action or intervention, at least to save them from psycho damage, and then we can empower and we can permanently or for sustainable livelihood we can regain, we can just enable them to have their original livelihood status. Until that there are steps, psychological intervention steps. First temporary Second, then to have sustainable livelihood, one is they have to empower. Another, just they have to be encouraged, as there is tomorrow chance or hope to live a better life, or to gain their homeland, to gain their previous lifestyle, to gain their previous social status, economic status, and previous livelihood. So intervention is must and mandatory. In this regard, expertise, psychologists can play a principal role.
They've smuggled corrugated iron, vehicles, computers, household equipment, furniture, and other construction equipment to Tigray. TPLF has carried out a well-planned and ill-devised war against Afar people. Apart from fight with military and militia, they have deliberately murdered civilians from all age groups, and this resulted in mass graves found all over the areas. Mass graves are everywhere in various districts invaded by TPLF. Literally speaking, TPLF has committed ethnic cleansing against the Afar people. TPLF used to exploit resources from all regions, and the Afar region was among the victims. TPLF during its reign mainly exploited salt and gold mines of the region. However, after TPLF was ousted by current leadership of Ethiopia, the people of Afar are utilizing their salt resources as their long-awaited demand of using their own resource has been addressed.
ስሜ ኑር አሊ ሑላ እባላለሁ። የዛ አካባቢ ተወላጅ ነኝ እና የአፍዴራ ጨው አመራቾች የህብረት ስራ ማህበር ምክትል ሊቀመንበር ነኝ።
My name is Nur Ali. I'm indigenous to the surrounding. I was born and raised here. I'm deputy director of Afdera Salt Producers Association. Residents of Afdera never benefited from salt producers during the reign of TPLF, and we let the bygone be bygone. But now, due to the chance realized after the era of TPLF got rid of residents of Afdera, are benefiting from their own resources. The region's mineral authority granted salt plots ownership certificate for residents, and we collect from them. We invest on it and process it in the factory. Benefits that the residents of the surrounding get would be rated in two ways. When they got salt plot ownership certificate, and the other one is that it is good job opportunity for them so that they generate money out of it. During the reign of TPLF, salt producers were fully monopolized by the bourgeois, and the poor used to serve as a daily laborer. And now the poor gets a chance to benefit from its own resources.
TPLF is still trending on old school fashion to come to power again, though their conspiracies and worn out tactics lacks power to deceive the Ethiopian government and the general public. As the saying goes, you can teach an old dog a new tactic. It creates illicit laughter among Ethiopian people seeing TPLF's wrong calculation to oust the incumbent government the way it had overthrown the Derg regime 3 decades ago. Now the peace-loving and hard-working Afar people and regional government are working on rehabilitating the affected areas and are very hopeful that the future is bright than ever. The federal government, as a regional state, and even the global community should stand in solidarity with this proud and nation-loving Afar people in their continued effort towards building a prosperous and peaceful region.